Welcome to IMFK News.
We are going to talk, the purpose of this session is to discuss some pressing issues and concerns to do with the world of journalism. And I'm going to speak to two people. One is an investigative journalist. He's one of the best investigative journalists of our time, Mr. Ravi Nair. And the other is arguably the best fact checker of our generation. In a sense, we decided to call them accidental journalism, and what they practice are, they practice journalism, and here the title is accidental journalism. So I think, do you guys think you are accidental journalists? You came into journalism by accident? Ravi, can you start with that?
Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be here with all of you. എനിക്ക് മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയാൻ പ്രശ്നമൊന്നുമില്ല, പക്ഷേ സുബേറിന് മനസ്സിലാവില്ല, അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ പറയുന്നു കേട്ടോ. I started my career as a journalist way back in '95, and as a young reporter, I understood how tough this job is in just less than 2 months, and I quit. I came back to journalism in 2016, and I thought it's a pressing need of the time, and I had a long corporate career. And when I came back, then it was tough. It was really tough financially and even otherwise, because social media was thriving, and the right-wingers, if you write anything on the government, question the government policies, no, of course, they'll tarnish your image, they'll threaten you, they'll file cases against you. For example, I'm facing quite a few cases, defamation cases. It's basically slap, strategic litigation, to silence you. Luckily, I've never gone to jail just like him. They put him in jail for a long time. So, I am an accidental journalist. In the sense that I never thought I'll come back to journalism, because I had a very good job, a corporate job. I was earning good. After coming into journalism, I almost lost everything. I ended up, doing crowdfunding for my survival. There was a time where I couldn't pay my children's school fee on time. I couldn't pay the rent of the house which I was staying in on that time. It was a tough time. But there are a lot of good people who support. And when I did the crowdfunding, I raised almost nearly 5 lakh rupees in a month. That is, when I was working, I never thought that's a huge amount. But when I did the crowdfunding, on that time, I really understood the value of that amount. So yes, I am an accidental journalist, and when I look back, I don't regret. I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, and being an accidental journalist is not a bad thing, but you are an accidental journalist in a very turbulent period of Indian journalism. So as someone, I would like to take the liberty of talking as a person who has seen both sides. I was a journalist before 11 years. We are talking about a period in which a lot of things have changed. So Subair, you came into journalism much later, like even a few years after 2014, that that threshold year, when a lot of things changed. And when you look back, we all know that media and journalism are not the same. It doesn't. There is no striking resemblance to what it used to be before that. So, how did you come into journalism, and what did you want to achieve by being a journalist?
Hi, thanks for having me here. Yes, I never thought I would be a journalist. I always tell this to my friends. Like in 2011 or 12, I didn't even know who the Prime Minister was, who a CM was or who the MLA was. I mean, I was not at all into politics. I think in 2012-13 is when I started getting involved in politics. That is like through Facebook pages. I mean, those days like not many were on Twitter or Instagram. Most of them were on on Facebook. And I was active on a few Facebook pages then.
Swami, I remember.
I was on Facebook page, but I was on Facebook page as commenter, and I always used to comment on others' pages. Lot of people would appreciate me for my comments, for my views, and I think I had made a lot of friends who were admins of those pages. And slowly, I think in 2014, soon after the general election, I saw a lot of changes from the people who were managing those pages. I saw a shift in their views. The things they were against before slowly started justifying whatever was being done. For example, anything about corruption or anything unfortunate incident has happened, they would call out people then. But now, soon after the 2014 election, they would justify every time. It's like he's just come into power, give him some time, 100 days about corruption and black money and whatnot. And that is, and they also started dividing people into Hindu and Muslim. People who were always like, they came as if it was like only about corruption, only about black money, at least the supporters. Soon after 2014, they started seeing in two different eyes. And that is when I was like disheartened and I wanted to create a page. I did not know, I started a page in 2014, September, October, which was a parody page of Mr. Subramaniam Swami, the politician from...
the name was Swami.
Subramaniam
Swami. This is a super hit page.
Yeah. Subramaniam Swami, and then I think it was a parody account. I used to imitate him the way he used to tweet on in those days. I used similar slang to write whatever I have to write in a sarcastic way. And a lot of people started following me then, and many were actually confused. They thought it is actually Subramaniam Swami. And so what they did was like, they were actually confused because when they see here, it's totally a different person, and when they see tweets by Mr. Subramaniam Swami, it's like a totally different one. But similar, way of expressing it. So if you started complaining to him, sir, like you're totally two different persons. Like on Facebook you're different, and on Twitter you're different. He after a point, like he was like so frustrated. He started following, seeing my posts, and he got to know it is like someone who is like trying to imitate him. And then one day he tweeted saying like, if Facebook does not take down, that is my page, that is a parody page, I would sue Facebook. And I was actually scared. I thought maybe I had around 50,000 followers then, and I thought probably my page would go. The next day what happened was Facebook took down his page instead of my page. Probably they thought it could be, this page is actually toxic, and that could be a false my person. And then,
but were you still working with Nokia?
I was still working with Nokia, and this was in 2014, and that is when, if you I think Newsminute and the Times of India covered about me, and but the page got really famous, and by 2016-17 I had good number of followers. And I got in touch with Mr. Pratik Sinha, my co-founder of Alt News. He was running a page called The Truth of Gujarat, which was documenting the think crimes in Gujarat. And I was like a great fan of him and his father. Back then I read about his father, Mr. Mukul Sinha, who fought a lot of cases for victims of 2002 riots. And then in 2016, because I used to travel a lot, when I went to Ahmedabad, we happened to meet once or twice. And then we decided we had good number of followings on Facebook, but what people only who follow us would get whatever we post. We also started fact checking.
The consequences stand out. One is that the editor has lost the power as an institution, and the reporters, who are supposed to independently go after looking for news, they are forced to run public relations. It's almost bordering on public relations. So at this point of time, there is a greater role for independent media, and it's underlined by recent interviews and news stories done by a lot of others, including the kind of work that you do. And investigative journalism becomes a greater urgent necessity at this point of time, because the government is not only lying to the people, but government is, in a state of delusion, lying to itself. What are your thoughts on this, Ravi?
One of my first articles was that I used to follow politics. Like every other Malayali who follow politics, it's in your blood, right? So I have my own opinions. I never expressed it, but I followed politics. I was not an active politician, and I'm not an active politician. I'm not a member of any party, for that matter. But I have my own, as everyone else, I have my own political opinions. How politics should be, and it's for what. So, during 2016, I started noticing something. This government is launching schemes every other day, left, right, center, the government schemes. And everything is Modi. PM Modi Yojana, PM Modi, that Yojana, this Yojana. So I just tried to study that and I compiled a list. I think I did 21 or 22 schemes. Then I found out all of them were old schemes. Some schemes even started way back in 1985. So they repacked it, renamed it, relaunched it with Pradhan Mantri Modi's photo with a big media flash. So Modi is giving. That was my first article. Then, it was not even an article, right? It was a tweet thread. Then there is a famous finance journalist in Mumbai called Sujeta Dalal. She called me up saying that, can I publish this? I said, please go ahead. Then I used to, I had subscription to two newspapers on those times. One was Times of India and second was Indian Express. Then I started noticing the way they published the news. It was changing. I had a TV connection. I was an avid watcher of news. I used to watch news debates regularly. I gradually lost interest because, see, news media, the journalists and the media houses, they are the actually watchdog of the society and the government. They should be. But that's not what was happening. So what we can do? So that's when I started writing. And I decided that I will not write just like a beat reporter every day. I'll find out topics which nobody is speaking about. I'll follow that very closely. I know it will be tough. It is tough. But I'll find out what no one else is seeing and I'll tell that to the world. That's how the Rafale scam broke. Modi went to France and just one fine day announced 36. We found out that he did not consult anyone else. It was a unilateral decision. That is not how an elected democratic government works. This is authoritarianism. The same thing started reflecting in media every day. Can you point out a single article or a single news debate or a single news point where anyone questioned the stand of the Modi government? In the last 6 years, can you point out a single article in any of the mainstream newspapers or media channels? Yes, till 2023 there was one, towards end of 2022, NDTV. Now that's also not there. So in these times, it is necessary that somebody should say the truth. That's what we are trying to do. And we, it's not me or Ravina alone. We are a few colleagues, all independent. We collaborate with each other. We share informations. And if somebody is leading a project, all others support them. That's how we write.
Subir,
when we started off in 2017, it was like mostly about misinformation by individuals, saying like a photo taken out from one location and add a criminal claim and say it is from this location. Specifically, if it is a non-BJP rule state, they'll put out saying, okay, it is from there. But over a period of time, it has changed a lot. Initially, whenever we put out a fact check, also one of the reasons why people, many hate me and also love me is because we just don't fact check. Writing an article is one thing. It may or might not reach more and more people. What I particularly do is I go to the, for example, if somebody has tweeted it, some famous personality has tweeted it, I go to him and I reply to him in my own way, and I also quote tweet him so that more and more followers of mine and his get to know what it is. Because in those days, in 2017, 18, at least till 19, people were a little, okay, if they put out misinformation and if they get to know if it is actually misinformation, they would politely at least apologize, saying, okay, this is like by mistake, or maybe embarrassed, or just delete it, saying, okay, because they followers got to know that it is, okay, he has done it intentionally or unintentionally. So they were at least courteous enough to at least delete it. But now that is not the case. Unfortunately, even the mains, even if you call out a media personality, be it an anchor, famous news anchor, they are happy to keep the tweet as it is, because what now they say is like it's like a fight between two people. My followers think it is actually false, but then even if Mr. Zubair, even if he's fact checked it.
Without taking name, I will say one instance which happened a couple of weeks ago. One Twitter handle, one guy who openly said that certain politician offered him, because Modi's birthday, they want to celebrate, and he openly told on Twitter, and he posted letter. He got a letter and the format what he should tweet, and they offered him 145,000 rupees for that. You can check. If anybody is active on Twitter, I think it's there on Instagram.
Because he's already told it on Twitter, right?
Yeah, he openly said.
And he later on deleted it. Yeah, that's Ajit Bharti, who had already told it. I'm saying it because he's already told it from his Twitter. But there are a lot of other things which go on. Like their influencers were hired directly or indirectly by the BJP politicians. And the same influencers, unfortunately, are now also being in collaboration with the mainstream media, mainstream anchors. I don't know if you've seen the photos. This is how it is. They want their content to be amplified by these influencers. So instead of calling out these people, they are in collaboration with this.
So, when it comes to amplifying...
I will say another instance. He had a session with many of them, and these photos were published widely to encourage more people to act like them and to proliferate the views of the government and the ruling regime. He can give more example to that.
Just recently, individuals like us, there was one of my friends called Capsology, his handle is Capsology, and many others who started calling out, showing before and after examples of using E20 and what was the mileage before and how it is now. And slowly that gained traction, and it was organically a lot of people started putting out about it. And then there was criticism about using E20 petrol. And that is when the Ministry of, Gadkari and many others started reaching out to a lot of influencers. Initially it was only about a particular influencer who is ideologically aligned. But now what they are doing is, these ministers or maybe the ministry people or even the media persons, for example, anchors, they reach out to influencers who are having good number of followers on Instagram, because more and more youth are watching videos on Instagram. They are more active on Instagram. So what they do is they reach out to them, and we've also written an article saying how many influencers were in.
A lot of stories, and at some point of time, some decades ago, when the Bofors case emerged, it was amplified in the media, in the legacy media. When you wrote about Rafale, or when you wrote about crony capitalism, Adani is getting, Modi government waiving the border security laws, to ensure that business is smooth. Running of his renewable energy park is smooth. So, what was the amplification or what was the response from legacy media?
Nothing.
There was a response from social media, I would say.
Yeah.
That is again trolling, somehow saying Soros funded.
See, actually what happened was Modi government in Indian borders, so the defense protocol is like that from 10 kilometers from the border areas, except in the already existing villages, you can't do any new construction. Even in the villages, you can construct a school or a pond or road or a playground, nothing beyond that. Here, Modi government changed that rule and allowed Adani Group to construct a mega renewable energy, solar and wind power project just 1 kilometer away from Pakistan border.
This is in the Ran of Kutch.
It's in Ran of Kutch in Gujarat. And you can see, if you visit the place, you can see the border line, border roads and the fence, you can see them. And in the recent India-Pakistan conflict, Indian Army shot down, BSF and Indian Army shot down around 8 drones from that area. This was not in public domain that this rule was amended. I got hold of these documents from Ministry of Defence and Ministry of Renewable Energy. I published it. And in India nobody was ready to publish, so we published in one of the renowned newspapers, UK, it's based in London, The Guardian. And I got a lot of calls and mails, appreciated, but in Indian media, no one, not a single one, carried the story. Even in Malayalam channels, no discussion happened. It's a very major thing. The government is changing our defense management rules and regulations for one private company and its profit, just because that company's owner is close to the Prime Minister of the country. And that story, opposition created a ruckus in Parliament. They asked questions, government never answered. Other than that, the opposition protesting in the Parliament was a news. But government changed, why they are protesting was not the news, because government changed the rule to support one private company. That was not a story at all. So that is how it is nowadays.
And what about the Rafale story? Was the story different? Was the response any different?
In Rafale story, what happened was slightly different for the reason that whatever we have broke the story, it was not completely carried by the mainstream media, but it had some traction. It had some traction, and there is this well-known defense analyst. He was a journalist once, and he was a very decorated army officer, Colonel Ajay Shukla. Ajay was in collaboration with me, so Ajay was writing in Business Standard. So it had some traction, and then I got a bunch of documents. When we put that documents out through the wire, it had real traction because many mainstream media picked it up, and in follow-up, the Hindu newspaper's former editor, N. Ram, veteran journalist, N. Ram, he did a series of stories on Rafale. So if we say that mainstream media did not do, that's wrong. And NDTV carried a lot of stories. All these stories NDTV carried on that time because it was not under Adani then. So yeah, it had some traction. But now the story is different because Ella Modi Mayo Lego. So everything is Modi, right? So nobody speaks.
What are the hazards of
Quoting you and news anchors spread it. It was a false news. He highlighted it's a false news. Then even news anchors were spreading it again after that.
saying what was the ability to crunch numbers and understand, read balance sheet and stuff like that. So, Ravi, can you tell me, both of you, I would want you to tell us about what are your learnings and what you think, what do you think are the ways in which your previous profession has contributed to your practice, your craft as journalists?
I studied economics, so balance sheet and reading a balance sheet and all, of course I didn't learn. It came with experience. It's in the sense that I learned it myself, how to read the financials, how to analyze it. My previous jobs, I had a prolonged corporate job, life. That helped me in number crunching and analyzing statistical data. So in certain cases, when it comes to tracking offshore money laundering, round tripping, share market price manipulations, it enormously helps me out. That experience enormously helped me out. And I used to gather market intelligence. The competitive, if you are trying to sell a product and you have different competitors there and market is very competitive, then you have to do a competitive analysis. You have to find out what are the strategies. You might not get the details, but you have to find out from what they are doing, what is visible to you. From that, you have to make analysis that what is your competitor is trying to do. So those kind of experience, it helped me a lot. Suppose I am getting one set of documents, whatever said and done, inside the government there are a lot of good people. They still give you documents if they trust you and say that, okay, these are the documents, go and write, expose it. So, at times what happens, these documents are only half. And if you have to say something, you have to have the full. So what we do is, we try to analyze in different methods and we'll keep the draft ready till we get the next batch of documents. And in almost 70% of the cases, that presumption comes correct. It's because it comes from that analytical mindset which you have learned with your experience. So in that way, my previous job was very helpful. Previous jobs were very helpful.
I heard that you were very good with car sales. So how does it?
I was a very good car salesman.
So how does it help? Does it help with selling your stories?
I did not sell only cars. I was my last job was I was the retail business head of an Apple retailer. I sold phones and laptops also.
So what about
I sold Mercedes Benzes and BMWs and General Motors cars.
I'm sure it will help you sell your stories also. At least in the future, you might find some ways to do that.
Another thing what I have is I made a lot of contacts in this corporate jobs. Because, networking is of course a part in these kind of jobs. So you go to high parties, you meet people, you make contacts. So now, if I need some information within a corporate, I can pick up the call and say, Rose, Ravi, Arey aaja yaar, mil jayega. So those kind of things, it helps a lot.
And what about you, Subair? Your engineering background.
I would not say it's totally helped me.
It's not helping in that sense. In this, there are certain things, there are traits that you develop while being in corporate and, to be attentive.
Maybe the patience what I have, like the number of abuses I get on social media is now, comparatively it is reduced, but it's not as much as it was before. And somehow, and also, not just my engineering days, like I also like to pull legs with my friends. And at times that's what even I do here on Twitter. It's like pulling leg as in like whenever they do something wrong, I go tweet them or reply, respond to them, tag them, even if it is a minister. not many would usually do that. I mean, despite me getting multiple affairs, that is, I have around 12 affairs against me now. Despite that, I do all that. I want their followers to know. I want them to feel ashamed for what they did.
Yeah.
At least they should know people are watching you.
So tell me how important is sense of humor in both ways, in terms of handling these kind of falsehoods and propaganda, pernicious propaganda and all, and also in keeping yourself sober, sane.
There are two things. Like, there are two ways. One is abuse people, abuse their families, which is what many do. Unfortunately. There's another way, like be cool, calm, and as in respond in a sarcastic way, or maybe with facts. First thing is talk about facts, and other way is like maybe even if they abuse you, respond with sarcasm or ignore them. There are many of my friends, like Rahul Gandhi. That is what they do. They never abuse. I've never abused people, even if they abuse my family or religion or anybody. Don't respond to them. Just ignore them. But yeah, I do it in my own way.
And in social media, what I do is, I'll just post what I want to post. I'll never read any of the replies. The moment I go to read the replies, of course, I'll be tempted. I'll get a lot of abuse. So I'll be tempted to give back sometime. So once I did, somebody called, Appana Ammaki Vidichu. Malayalam, Ivadana. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ തിരിച്ച് അവൻ്റെ അപ്പൂപ്പനും അമ്മയ്ക്കും വരെ വിളിച്ചു. പിന്നെ എനിക്ക് തോന്നി വേണ്ട, ഞാൻ കുറച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ അത് ഡിലീറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് കളഞ്ഞു. സോ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ റിപ്ലൈ ഒന്നും വായിക്കില്ല. We'll just write what we want to, and factually. After that, forget it.
But no, also, for example, if you want, in our case, if it is a fact check, you want more and more people to read. I've seen we write fact checks and we publish articles. Maybe the time what we published, maybe many were not there, and it would have gone from their timeline. So what I personally do is I regularly put out, reply to them, quote tweet them. So which is what like many people get to know. That is when there is more traction. That is where they feel more insulted because they've been fact checked. So
yeah. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you very much. And this is what we could cover in 45 minutes of our interaction here. Keep watching Subair and Ravi. They are online, and you can keep following their work. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for watching.